So Lita is pretty good TVT, but yeah, like I said, 75.24% TVT, 155 and 51 is Flash's TVT record, which is just insane.
Oh,
They could Lita has a sort of a chance against Flash and TVT, but the other thing that I'm thinking of is the other game. Um, I think the other player that KT is going to send out if Flash loses is probably going to be a Zerg player, at which point you're going to want Lita to play against him and not Snow, because Lita is much better against Zerg than Snow is.
good point.
So, best case scenario, I think Snow versus Flash, and then Lita versus either Crazy Hydra or Perfective should Flash lose this game.
Yeah, very good point. KD was probably going to send out Crazy Hydra next if Flash lose, but there's no guarantee that Flash will be sent out next. KT will will be safe and play Flash in the last game, like because Flash is a rest problem, so they might just trying to let Flash not play as least as possible. So we don't know who they're gonna send out next, but the Flash will be most likely though. If ever come back, I think CJ will give a shot to SKD. But before that, I think to KT. But before that, I will say that KT still has an advantage. Maybe it's just the code.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the map statistics now. La Mancha slightly favored PvT, so if it's Snow versus Flash, then that will be in his favor. And then Aztec slightly favored TVZ, so if it's Lita against the Zerg, then he has a good chance there as well. So, obviously no guarantee that's going to be the players that come out. I think, yes, it's going to be actually Lita versus Flash. A bit surprising there. I think Snow would have been the better choice on this map, but it's going to be La Mancha. Pretty good Terran map, so it's going to be Lita against Flash. Lita, like you said, decent TVT, but Flash is the epitome of TVT, and Lita is going to have to pull out all the stops to be able to take down Flash.
I'm kind of disappointed of Nanash and they're actually typing Flash's name wrong. It looks like Lita has 9 wins and 8 losses in his recent games in this pro league. That's not too good. But at least it's over 50%.
I'm actually going to go on a limb and say Lita's very likely to go early Wraiths in this game. I think that's his strong point. His Wraith micro is probably the best in the world. I think that's pretty safe to say, seeing as Lita goes Wraiths more than anyone else. So if Lita goes for an early Wraith build, and Flash is either not prepared for it or miss micros against it a little bit and loses too many SCVs to it, then that might be a good way for Lita to play. If he just plays standard, I can't imagine him beating Flash.
Yep. And the Flash is 33 and 3 in this pro league. So you just play around with the math. The win rate for Lita is like 3%, 2.76%. And so it's pretty favored Flash. Speaking of the statistic. It looks like Lita is spawning on the top left position as the Teal Terran, and spawning on the top right side is our Terminator Flash.
Yeah, so it's going to be horizontal positions. I think this map is roughly equivalent horizontal and vertical positions. I remember Grand Line. The way that the game was played depended pretty much entirely on the spawn positions because it was just the one line going down the middle, but La Mancha has ridges going in every which direction, kind of like a windmill, so it doesn't really matter where the spawn position is as long as it's not cross position. Like I said, I kind of hope that Lita goes for 2-port Wraith, and with these spawn positions not cross position, then I think that is going to play into two-port Wraith a little bit more. Um, just supply depots coming out for both players right now, so there's not going to be any proxy barracks. There's not going to be any crazy early play coming from Lita. I'd imagine Flash is just going to play as safe and as standard as possible, try to get the easy win against Lita in sort of a late game TVT, and then just celebrate and go to the finals.
Yep. I don't think the coach would like Lita to go for any kind of cheesy builds after losing no, those two Protoss games before. And it looks like Flash is sending out the a pretty early scout after he put down the barracks, and he's not scouting in the right position, unfortunately. But let's look at Lita, and Lita is not scouting yet. Scouting in TVT is not that important early on because your choice is limited in the early game.
Yeah, I think Flash, yeah, he's not even scouting bases. Flash is just looking for proxies. Flash knows that he's the way better player here. He's heavily favored. Just scouting around the middle, looking for barracks, looking for any sort of cheese coming from Lita, because he can sacrifice a little bit of early economy to try to make sure that he's safe. And now Flash is actually, yeah, Flash is going to take his command center as well. Both players just going one rack CC. I think Lita's is a bit earlier because Flash sent out that early SCV to scout, so it's just going to be standard for now. You're going to have to see what both players do after their command center. Flash is just going to be harassing the SCV, building the command center for Lita, trying to not necessarily kill that SCV, but delay it a little bit. Just delay the command center, make him come off building for a little bit to try to fend off that SCV. And both players need to be a bit careful with those SCVs, making sure they don't lose either of them. Like you said, the scouting isn't super important. Once you the command center, then obviously that's the only build that you could have done. And then after that, once you get your first couple of Marines out, then you can just float your barracks over and see what's going on inside the main. So scouting not a huge deal in this matchup, especially once they know where each other are. I'm not sure if Lita sent out an SCV yet to scout where Flash is. I think he's sending one out now, probably going to scout in the right direction and be able to find where Flash is. So once you have that information, knowing where your opponent is, and then knowing that they expanded, is pretty much all the information you can get this early.
Yep, and look at what Flash is drawing in the middle of the map with scouting for scouting pattern. It's like he's practicing some religion or something. And fortunately, Lita will be able to scout Flash, but unfortunately for him, he has put down his bunker. So with the mirror builds, Flash will pull ahead in the economy, and this is not too good when you are doing a mirror build and you're behind in economy against Flash, and 2 barracks has gone down from Flash. So this will be pretty hard counter to 2-port race if Lita goes for it. But we'll have to see if Flash has have the game sense that Lita is not going for a race.
Yeah, it looks like Lita's just going to go for a standard play now. I think he has 2 factories coming up to Flash's 3 factories. So the important part of TVT right now is who can be the most aggressive in the early game and try to gain territory. TVT tends to go really, really late game, but that's just because you can't really kill your opponent. What ends up happening is the big fight goes on early game, and whoever's able to win the early little skirmishes is able to gain more territory, contain their opponent to a smaller portion of the map, and then take more bases for themselves, so they can get an economic lead and be able to win in the super late game. Flash has a tendency to circumvent that by just outplaying his opponent massively and being able to kill him sort of in a mid-game situation. But really, the goal of any Terran player in Terran versus Terran is to try to get as much territory as possible, seal his opponent off, and then just take the economic lead.
Yep, and we have the differences here. Lita has gone for his second gas before Flash has put on his second gas, so this one will be a little bit heavy coming on from Lita here. Maybe some more tanks or maybe faster upgrades. We'll have to see here. and then 3 vultures is going out, and for Flash, and mine